Hi, I'm Sunny, and this is my podcast, Creator, Created, Creating. Short and sweet mindset shifts for intentional life creation. Killing your work with kindness. Okay, so I wanted to share this with you about, I was just thinking about, so I don't know if you relate to this in your own creation process, with your own work in the world, or your own, whatever you do in the world, even if you don't have a business that you do for your joy. But this is probably going to apply mostly to creators who are trying to sell their work and who are trying to make a living from their work. Mostly. But you might find yourself in this, even if you're not doing that. So I'm just going to leave that open. But so what I want to explore and talk about is this feeling of when you're creating the thing, when you have the idea for the thing that you're creating, or the service, or the piece of artwork, or the writing, or the course, or the class, or the session, or whatever it is, you have this idea, and then in that stage, you're like, this is so delicious. It's so fun. I'm so excited. This feels like play. This feels like creativity. This feels like joy. Or maybe this just feels like love. This feels like peace. This feels like all those good things, right? You're feeling in that really beautiful place with your creation at that stage. And in that moment, you're just doing that thing because you want to do the thing. You're doing it from pure desire. You're like, I love this. I love this feeling. And I am creating this because I just want to, right? And it's delicious, delicious, yummy. Then when you go into the, okay, now I'm going to offer this to the world stage, oftentimes, many times, most times, that initial deliciousness and yumminess and I'm just doing this because I want to, period, because it feels good to me, period, shifts into something totally different. It shifts into a feeling of trying. It shifts into a feeling of trying to prove or convince. It shifts into a feeling of let's see. It shifts into a feeling of I have to now sell this or talk about this or all this stuff. It shifts into this totally other category, right? And what we want, what I want anyway, is to just be myself and have my business and my money and everything else be an extension of myself, period. That I don't leave that space. I don't leave that space of this is pure yummy and I'm just doing it because I want to. That everything I offer is just like, hey, I made this. Want to come play? Hey, I made this. Does it sound good to you? Actually, not even does it sound good to you. Just, hey, I made this. Here it is. Here's the link in case you want it. It's just me being me and just like showing up in the world and on social media and everything like I would show up to somebody who I already know completely loves me unconditionally. Like that level of fully feeling safe and belonging. That's what my objective is with my work, that it's such a natural extension of me that there's no effort whatsoever in any kind of selling. And the only reason that there is that efforting feeling is because there is this perception when you enter that other stage that you need to be something else to get the result you want to get. So you shift from pure enjoyment of your now into, I need to get a result. So I need to be something that I think I need to be to get that result. And so I was thinking about this today. And the question that came up for me was to ask myself around that. And you can ask yourself this too. Is like, yeah, okay, so when I notice myself doing that, just shift back and re-embody that original feeling. But we're not going to be able to do that when shifting into that other mode of needing to convince or selling or whatever that is, shifting into this other mode where you need to become this person who's now like making this work acceptable or trying to convince people of its value because you know its value, but you've had to step out of that zone. But it occurred to me, like, what does it mean to me to do that? Like, what has it meant to me in my life to do that? Meaning to switch into this other zone where I'm then trying to tell people about it in a certain way, or trying to make them see the value of it, or like all the things that we think we have to do to share and sell our work to people. So what has that meant to me? What does it mean to me to have to do that act of switching from this beautiful zone of yumminess in the creation to the selling, to the offering, to the talking about? And what I discovered for me was surprising to me, actually. And that was like the words that came up because the mind will want to answer like, I know what that is. It's this and this and that. And it'll usually be something that you heard someone else say. And you're like, yeah, that must be it. But what I want you to do is ask yourself what that has meant to you to do that, to have to do that, and how it doesn't feel good to you and how it feels bad. But what has that meant to you to do that? And then close your eyes and go inside and ask your body and wait for an answer to bubble up from your body. Like it, and it might turn into words, or it might just show up as like a feeling. Like and how do you interpret that feeling? What has that meant to you? What's the meaning? Because we hold on to things that have meaning for us. So the meaning that I discovered in that so far is that when I shift into that feeling and that hat out of that yumminess and fun and just pure being me and play, is the words that came up were, I'm paying my dues. I was like, wow, where did that come from? Like, I don't usually even use those terms ever. But it totally clicked because there's this song that I have on one of my playlists, and I love the song, but in a part of the song, she's like saying, I paid my dues about getting to where she is in her vocal recording career. And I was like, oh, okay. So what it's meant to me to shift into that zone is like, I'm putting in the work. I'm putting in the effort. I'm paying my dues. It can't just be all fun and play all the time. It just can't be all fun and games. It can't be all fun and games. It can't be all just feeling good and just natural. I mean, you got to pay your dues in this world, right? Nothing comes for free in this world, right? Like, you got to earn it. And as much as we have all of these empowered ideas about not needing to earn our worth or earn our value or earn safety and support and goodness and joy and all of that, it's just there. It's there. It's all around us in our society. We're hearing about it all the time. So it's very subconsciously ingrained. And that doesn't mean it has to have any power over us anymore. But the power is in the recognition of what does shifting out of who I am and just feeling like my natural self and showing up to social media and showing up to the world and showing up to talking about my stuff and my work and what I'm creating feel like a place of like I'm just talking to my husband who adores me and cherishes me and loves me unconditionally, or talking to people who I need to convince of my value, going into paying my dues, going into putting in the effort and the work. Like, I don't have to tap dance for his love. I don't have to tap dance. And you have examples of that in your own life, of somebody who just accepts you as you are, who just loves you as you are. Or you might even, if it's not a human, it's a pet, or it's nature, or it's God. Whatever your relationship is, you've always had an experience where you just get to be you. And there's no trying in it. But then we shift into the trying mode because we perceive value in that. We perceive that there's value over there. We're not doing that just for nothing. We're not doing that to hurt ourselves. We're doing it because we perceive a value there. And the value is going to be different for each one of us. Maybe it means something else to you. Maybe it means I'm being a good person. Or maybe it means like I really care. Or maybe it means like I'm kind and I don't want to make assumptions. Or maybe it means I'm humble. Like, what does it mean for you? What does it mean? What's the meaning? Because when we see the meaning, we can automatically, once we are removed from that meaning a little bit, we can look down on it, kind of like, the moon looking down on the earth or something like that, and just be like, oh, I see. And in that spaciousness, there's other options then. There's automatically other options available once you see something from a little bit of spaciousness. So the reason why I called this Killing Your Work with Kindness is because part of paying your dues, putting in the effort, part of any of those reasons I said is about trying to be good, trying to be liked and loved with this assumption you're not already, with this assumption you're lacking in some way. And so you need to get that from out there instead of just be that. So you're trying to, and it kills your work. It kills your work because you're trying to be this thing and you're trying to do it right. You're trying to do the right thing around it. And you lose yourself in that because what's that? It's different for everyone. The right thing is something different for everyone. So you lose yourself completely. You're gone. And then you wonder why you feel just in hell and just alone out there, trying to do that. Because you're not you. You've lost yourself. You're gone. You're out in this other space. So many people in the world say this in so many different ways, but that's the way that I wanted to say it today for myself. And I hope that helps a little. Don't kill your work with kindness. Don't kill your work with trying to be good. Don't kill your work with trying to do it right. Don't kill your work trying to be something you think you need to be in order to get the result that you want to get. Bring yourself back to your yummy you-ness. Bring yourself back to your yummy you-ness and try and anchor yourself in that feeling space. And notice when you've left the space. And don't beat yourself up for leaving the space because it's going to happen. But just notice oh, I'm way out here. I totally left myself. Okay, how can I bring myself back to myself in this moment? And let that reveal the way, because how you are going to show up with your work in the world is going to be so different for every one of us because we're all different. We all have a totally different personality and a totally different sense of humor and a totally different preferences about the things that we want to feel and experience. So we're all going to show up in the world around our work very differently. And you have to let you reveal yourself to yourself in how you want to do that. And that's going to happen through letting yourself try it and then just noticing when you're just not feeling yourself anymore. And like notice how you feel in your body. So one of the ways that I'm noticing this for myself is checking in with my body and noticing, like, if I'm going to post something, like if I'm like biting my lip or like stalling and like deleting and redeleting and rewriting lines over and over again, I'm not being myself. I'm trying to be someone so people will like me. I'm trying to make sure that people don't like me. I'm trying to avoid certain perceptions. Like, I'm not relaxed. I'm not in flow. I don't like sit with my husband or my sister or somebody who I know that totally loves me and will love me even if we don't understand each other and even if we're upset with each other. Like, I don't edit myself before speaking with them. I just get to be me. And I want that relationship with my work in the world. Same with all of you. That is my endeavor. So if I'm outside of that and I'm like doing all this tap dancing stuff, like is this the right thing? Or maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should put it this way. Oh, but that could be, I don't know if that's really gonna, like, if you're just like, then you're trying to create a perception instead of embodying the feeling of the thing that you want to experience. This is exactly what happened to me when I created Yummy Money Honey. That program, that experience just downloaded and came through me and got recorded, and I did it on myself, and it was the funnest, like, just yummiest. I shouldn't even say fun, like just yummiest, most transformative, like simple, easy, beautiful experience that I ever did on myself. I had such a blast. But then when I went to share it with the world, I was like, oh my God, Yummy Money Honey? People are going to judge the shit out of that. Then I started going into all these things and trying to create an image around it that people would be able to digest and all this stuff. And I went totally out of that zone of goodness that I had just experienced. I stopped being myself and I started going into, what do people need to hear around this? What do they need to know to make sure that they know it's valuable? Instead of just being like, this is completely valuable to me. I love it. And if they want to, yay. And if they don't, yay. Like, I'm staying in this yumminess though. I'm not going out of this yumminess to try to convince someone else. I'm staying in it. But so just noticing that for myself so that I can bring more awareness to that, so that I can continue to shift that over time, because my training to do the tap dancing, because of my attachment to the value of tap dancing, the value of tap dancing, the value of I'm paying my dues. I'm paying my dues. So what if I didn't need to pay my dues? What if I was still loved and supported and cherished and valued and safe in the world, even if I wasn't paying my dues, whatever that means to me, whatever that's meant to me? What if I got to let that go? What if I got to transform that into something totally different, not just for myself, but for all of my future ancestors? That would be amazing. So I'm definitely going to do that. I'm definitely going to do that. And I wanted to just share my thoughts on that with you today. Hope it helps. Bye. Thanks for joining me today. And if you'd like to find out more about me and my work, you can find me at sunnychapman.com.